It's really only one of many reasons why we should not be executing people. You would imagine that, this would be the fundamental argument that all libertarians would make, right? Because they will cry for eternity, that the monopoly of power that forces them to pay taxes. But the idea that the state would kill in a moment that had really nothing to do with protecting its citizens. I mean, let's be clear. The guy who was on death row in Alabama, I think he's been there for over 20 years, maybe even 30. And
was it 1988 murder?
And
so, yeah.
34.
Wow.
34 years. Don't know when he went to prison, but I mean, at least 30 years. So this person is not a threat to society. I mean, we can have a separate conversation about whether anybody should be in prison for 34 years. But in terms of of the state taking the life of an individual who in no way could possibly represent a threat to society because they're locked up in a prison, in my estimation, that is, it's not even a question. I mean, I don't like to set things in terms of morality, just because I don't subscribe to that idea in terms of when it comes to politics. But you're essentially announcing that cold-blooded killing is okay. It's just a question of now we're going to have a negotiation under what terms. And that becomes, I think, really problematic because terms can change. And they do, depending on what state you live in. And but also, once you say that cold-blooded murder or killing, if you don't, cold-blooded killing is okay under certain circumstances, it really just becomes a negotiation as to what those circumstances are. And maybe in some instances they are just I don't like that person.
I mean, and it's there's an attempt to sanitize it with, say, lethal injection, and no more firing squads, no more public hangings, but it's just as violent. It's still cold-blooded murder, and in fact, when you read about the details of what people go through with lethal injection as well, there sometimes has to be a paralyzing agent so that they don't writhe around in pain. It makes it less. They are literally paralyzing them so the people watching don't see that this person is being murdered in front of your eyes.
I think if we're going to have state executions, they should be televised.
Yep.
And we can hide the identity of this person. We can blur out maybe their face, but. And maybe we give the person to be executed the option. Do you want this televised? And people, if we're gonna kill in cold-blooded fashion like this, we should own it as a society and see how long we can stomach it. I know a lot of people in this country can, frankly, but I just wanted to say that because I didn't want anybody to get the impression that I think the problem here was that they failed to successfully kill this person in their first try. The problem is that that's how effed up of a society we have, in my estimation, about in killing people.